BGMC. The biblical truth lives here.
Welcome to the City Gate Messianic Bible Study, being brought to you by Beth-Going Messianic Congregation. What is the importance of the biblical city gate? It was a place contracts were made that are binding forever. The city gate was also a place of redemption for the kinsman redeemer. The city gate was a place where chastisement was administered. So come join us now as we enter into the city gate Messianic.
You get a blessing. Let's turn to Shemot Exodus chapter 11. Shemot Exodus chapter 11. This is Parshah number 15. It is called Bo. It means come. It's Shemot Exodus chapter 10 to chapter 13. Okay. What this is in each parashah there's a key verse, a key section, a key theme that we need to look at, and this is it. Neil, would you read Shemot 11 verse 4 and 5?
Moshe said, "Here is what YEHOVAH says. About midnight I will go out into Egypt, and all the firstborn of in the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the slave girl at the handmill and the firstborn of the livestock."
All right, what we're seeing here is something that's very interesting, that YEHOVAH is going to go and he's going to strike down not only Pharaoh, but all his people, from the firstborn in the land that will die to Pharaoh's son, and the firstborn of the person at the handmill to the firstborn of the livestock. That's something that's very fascinating. And, it's interesting to point out because, the Gentiles, like to think the law is for them, but all these people that he's going to strike down and that you just read, Neil, are going to be Gentiles. I think the Gentiles were under the law. What do you think about that, David? Do you think that, YEHOVAH struck down all these Gentiles?
Well, I've been going to ask you this question. He struck down the firstborn of the livestock. Why?
Well,
I can understand the firstborn of the people, but I don't understand the livestock.
Well, two things come to mind. First is that the livestock is corrupted because, once we fell from the garden, everything got corrupted. But two, he's taken away the food source of the people. He's taken away the livestock, and that's the first point of livestock. If you only had one, that's going to be killing a bunch of animals that are going to be that we're going to be used. And the other part is that every person is going to be affected by him doing that. So from human to animal, everyone's going to be affected by this plague. Okay?
Okay, all right.
All right. So let's go over to here. Next part is we're going to be looking at something, and it says around midnight in the CJV, but in other translations it uses the third watch. It speaks of different. It tells time differently. So you have to understand what was the first watch, what was the second watch, how they broke the day into these watches. So the second watch is 9 p.m. to midnight. It's a 3-hour block. And the third watch was midnight to 3 a.m. And I put this chart up there. I had purchased a book. It's I forgot the name of it, but it's a book that has all the different charts that you need to following the Bible. So when you're reading your Bible, in many translations, what we got here, around midnight. It says around midnight in 11:4 in the CJB, but in the NASB 11:4 says midnight there, but in other places it says during the third watch. Things happen during a certain watch of the night. So I put that chart up there so that you can see what hours are those time frames. Okay. Did anybody know that beforehand? Any of you guys know that? I didn't.
Nope.
Yeah, Rev, Will, and I have talked about that before, but I'm not that well versed on why it was used, or actually I've not studied it enough to know when one watch begins and another ends, but we have talked about it.
Yeah, it's good to know because, Yeshua, he walks on the water, and it says it was a certain watch of the night. So it's good to know what that watch is because, like I said, CJV has the time it would be, but many of the other translations it says the watch, what watch it was. So there you have the chart. Okay, so now let's go here. The next part, David, would you read Shemot 10, Exodus 10, verse 1 and 2? What we're going to be looking at here a lot is I'm going to show you guys the parallels between the plagues 8, 9, and 10 and Revelation. It really is quite amazing, the parallels. David, would you read Shemot 10, Exodus 10, verse 1 and 2?
Sure. And Adonai said, and Adonai said unto Moshe, Go to Pharaoh, for I have made him and his servants hard-hearted, so that I can demonstrate these signs of mine among them, so that you can tell your son and grandson about what I did to Egypt and about my signs that I demonstrated among them, and so that you will all know that I am Adonai.
Thank you, Dave. All right, so what we're looking at here, we're looking at signs and wonders. That's a big key, signs and wonders. And Pharaoh having his heart hardened. Okay? Pharaoh started out, YEHOVAH gave him chances in the beginning, and now Pharaoh's heart is very hard. And, YEHOVAH's saying, I've made him hard-hearted. And in these signs that we need to look at, we're going to look at all these different signs that are very important. And what we got here? Okay, so we're looking at signs. Signs are very important because Yeshua also uses this word sign or ot to give us something else. So hold your place there in Shemot 10. And please turn over to Matthew 16, verse 3. Neil, would you read Matthew 16, 3?
And in the morning you say, storm today because the sky is red and overcast. You know how to read the appearance of the sky, but you can't read the signs of the times.
All right. So the signs of the times. Now, this is a very important thing to understand because what is a sign? Let's talk about that for a minute. David, what do you think would be some signs that you might look at with things going on now. What do you think would be a sign that Jehovah's trying to show us something?
Well, all right, let's move a little bit east of you guys with the flood. Okay. I believe that's a sign that Yahweh's trying to get some people's attention in North Carolina or the fires in California. Signs and wonders. He kind of used me for one of those. I went Sunday to help the lady get her house ready to move in, and Monday I could not hardly even move. Today I'm doing pretty good.
So that sign was that you're not young anymore and you can't help move people any longer.
I knew that. I knew that was coming.
What about you, Neil? What do we talk about with signs and wonders? What would be a sign and wonder that God is trying to show us something?
Well, I just say a thumbs up with what's going on on the West Coast and out here in North Carolina. How do you say you're under judgment without saying you're under judgment? I think if you look at the areas that were affected, although just like in Mitzrayim, some innocents, some folks that were not a part of the conglomerate of the evildoers were affected by it. These are the areas that are at least two of the areas in the country that are known for their depravity. The Asheville area of North Carolina and the LA area and the part of California that was affected by the wildfire or the fires. So those are definitely, I think, signs that Yah is saying, take heed. This is what I can do, and this is what I will do if you don't follow my path. But I think there are good signs that's being shown too. The people that are turning, they're doing the teshuvah and turning their face toward Yah and are wanting to hear the truth, or wanting to hear what they should do to truly follow Yah. So I think you can see signs that's evident in today's world that are both on the plus side and the minus side.
Well, you're on the plus side and the minus side. All these different signs and wonders. So let's try to parallel this with our time. And we're seeing, if we go back to Shemot 10, Exodus 10, verse 1 there, in 1 and 2, Jehovah's going to strike down the Gentiles. Okay, now, David, what do you feel about this? I mean, the Gentiles, they don't have the law, and so what do you feel about this? Is it wrong for Jehovah to strike down these Gentiles? I mean,
no, because how long have we had the law? We've had the law since before the beginning, since before Adam and Eve. It's always been here. They are going to their churches, quote, their churches, and sitting through their services with the law in their hand. So they have no excuses. to not know what the law is.
Okay. Let me add something else here. You know, if you're looking at a circuit board or something like that, how does this play into how the circuit works? If the church is saying that we don't have to follow the law. Well, the law is not written yet on parchment, because at this point, it's we haven't left Egypt, so we haven't been gone into the Exodus. We haven't been with the Lord. So if we're looking at this as a pathway, and we have Yeshua saying here, these signs and wonders, are there, we have him saying, and in the morning you say, storm today, because the sky is red and overcast. You know how to read the appearance of the sky, but you can't read the signs of the times. Now, David, if you're determining, trying to figure out why a circuit is not working, what signs would you be looking for?
Well, so the first sign you'd have to look for is evidence of what part of the circuit's not working. Where do I go in that circuit board to troubleshoot it down? Then the second part of that would be to follow a schematic that you would have before you, showing you what path should be taken at what particular point and what particular time. And is there voltage there?
All right, so let's pause there for a second. Let's pause there for a second. Okay, so you're saying you're looking for signs and wonders, voltage, and what else did you say?
The area in which that circuit board, if you say your TV, is there no sound? That would be in the soundboard. Is there a vertical problem? That would be in the vertical board. Is there a horizontal problem? Maybe the color's not right. That'd be in the color board. So you would have to figure out what's missing from the picture in order to figure out where to go troubleshoot.
All right. Well, you also said the word schematic, and that's a very important word. Schematic is a drawing of what the piece of electronic, how it's supposed to work. Okay. So we have. That's why you can't understand what Yeshua the Messiah is saying here, Shemot 16, about these signs and wonders, unless you understand the schematic. You understand the beginning. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now we're going to go a little further, because we're going to take these parallels, and we're going to really show how the Lord has this wonderful schematic. Okay. Click here. Click. Okay, so we got the beginning here where it says that Yehovah's going to bring these great signs. It says about in verse 2, so that you can tell your son and grandson about what I did to Egypt, and this about all my signs. So we're looking for this schematic. So now, let's go here. Okay, Neil, would you read verse Shemot 10, verse 3?
Moshe and Aaron went into Pharaoh and said to him, "Here is what Yehovah, Elohim of the Hebrews, says. how much longer will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go so that they can worship me.
All right. So we're looking at submission. Hey, why, Neil, does the Lord want us to submit to Him?
Because He is sovereign over all things. He is the creator, and He is the architect of the world and that we live in and the life we're supposed to lead. So He wants us to submit to Him and acknowledge that and follow His instructions.
Okay, that's very good. He wants us to submit to Him and follow His instructions. Now, let me ask you another question, Neil. In your previous line of work, was there a chain of command that needed to be followed? And in that chain of command, was there submissions to somebody above you?
Yeah, there was most people in at my level did have somebody that they had to answer to, and you did acknowledge that they had whether you agreed with their decision or their instructions or not, you had to submit to their authority, and if you didn't or couldn't do that, then you probably were instructed to seek life elsewhere. So, but yeah, there was always somebody. There's always somebody bigger and with more authority than you are, and until you get to the pinnacle of that, which is YEHOVAH Elohim.
All right, so let's go back to the word because we wanted to talk about that because it says, would you read verse 3 again, please, Neil?
Moshe and Aaron went into Pharaoh and said to him, here's what YEHOVAH Elohim of the Hebrews says, how much longer will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go so they can worship me.
Okay, so what we're seeing here is, these two men, these two witnesses, are telling Pharaoh to submit to him, submit to YEHOVAH. Okay, now this is terms for peace. When you don't submit to the terms for peace, something is going to happen. Okay, so if we could do this in our jobs and in the world, David, is there something in electronics where you have a hierarchy of something or a submission, like, that there's in the schematic, would there be a submission if this happens, or something like that in electrical?
Oh, absolutely. It's if you go through and you have 3 volts here on this lead, and that turns on in a component, and which sends a signal to another component, which gives it permission to either turn on or turn off. And it's all the way through there's not an electronic circuit out there that doesn't operate that way.
All right. Okay. So let's take that submission idea. Moshe and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, here's what YEHOVAH Elohim of the Hebrews says. How much longer will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go so they can worship me. Right. So let's take that idea of submission to the next level. So David, would you read Yaakov, James chapter 4, verse 7 through 9?
Give me a minute to get to it.
Hold your place there in Shemot and turn over to Yaakov, chapter 4, verse 7 through 9.
Okay, Yaakov what?
Chapter 4, verse 7 through 9. 7 through 10.
Chapter 4. Seven. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to tell you. I'm going to start getting my cataract surgery lined out next month. Therefore, submit to God. Moreover, take a stand against the adversary, and he will flee from you. Come close to God, and he will come close to you. Clean your hands, sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded people. How far?
Through verse 10, please.
Oh, 10. Wail, mourn, sob. Let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy into gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up.
All right, so to understand what's going on with Yaakov here, you can't understand it unless you understand submission to YEHOVAH, the Father. Okay? And what happened, Neil, to Pharaoh? What happens to him when he doesn't submit to the Father?
He pays the price in the final plague. He loses his firstborn son, as well as the confidence and respect of everyone that fell beneath his authority, because they lost likewise.
Now, was that fair to the child that he died? He didn't do anything wrong. His dad did. What do you think, Neil?
I guess in this case, I would have to concede that the fairness lies in the eyes of Elohim. I mean, it's his plan, not mine. So the child was was a way to further the death of the child was a way to further for YEHOVAH to further his plan and to make his point to the ones that were in charge, namely Pharaoh, that he was not one to be toyed with, and his commands would and must and would be followed to whatever degree he had to do to show that he was ultimately the one in charge, and that he was going to be honored and was going to be listened to. That was the price that was going to be paid.
All right, that was a serious price to be paid. Okay, and the key, what I'm trying to bring to you guys and to those that are listening, is you got to submit to God, and if you don't, not only you pay the price, but your family pays the price. So when Yaakov says, James says in 4:7, therefore submit to God, moreover take a stand against the adversary. The only way to take a stand against the adversary is to submit to the Father and to his laws. So Pharaoh, this Goy, this Gentile, refused to submit to him, and his son paid the price. His son paid the price. Okay? And they were under grace, so the law was not written. Let's take this a little further. I mean, because a lot of people don't like to look at this. The church doesn't want to look at this. That YEHOVAH is destroying a Gentile nation. let's go over to here. Go back to Shemot 10, and let's look at verse 6. I think it's David's turn. Would you read Shemot 10, Exodus 10, verse 6?
Yes, sir. They will fill your house and those of your servants and all of the Egyptians. It will be like nothing your fathers or their fathers have ever seen since the day they were born until today. Then he turned his back and left.
All right, so now we're going to get into the plague number 8, which is locusts. And they're going to fill up everything. Okay, this is very, very important because in Revelation we have locusts. But you can't understand Revelation until you first understand this. So this is plague number 8, so something new is going to occur. Number 8 is something for a new beginning. And it's going to fill your houses, it's going to fill your servants, it's going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. Okay, so that's something very, very important because when we see this in Revelation, it's going to be something that the world has never seen before, and it's going to be horrible and good in one sense. So let's see what we got here. What demon was God striking down here? Okay, locusts. Okay, it's the 8th plague, and it's this is against a couple of gods that they had dealing with the land. So this is Nepri, the grain god. Armotet, the goddess of childbirth and crops. Because what are locusts going to do? They're going to eat up everything. Okay, now, so they're going to eat up all your food. Now, let me ask you guys a question. It's going to be millions and millions of these locusts. They've eaten up all your food. Neil, what are you going to eat?
Unless you have a taste for locusts, probably nothing.
So you can eat locusts?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, they're kosher.
Yes, they are kosher. Okay, you can eat the locusts. So in one sense, he's having them eat up everything, but in the other sense, he's sending us food. Okay, now let's see what else there is there. It's very important because we're going to go to Revelation in a second. Okay, so this was a couple of gods. This was Nepri, Armotet, and Anubis. Okay, Anubis was the guardian of the fields. So now our God was sending all these locusts to take down these demons. Okay. Now, why is that important? Understanding who these gods are, because hold your place there in Shemot, and let's turn over to Revelation. Revelation. Revelation 9. Revelation 9, verse 1 through 4. You get that, Neil? Would you read it, please?
The 5th angel sounded the shofar, and I saw a star that had fallen out of the heaven onto the earth. And he was given the key to the shaft leading down to the abyss. And he opened the shaft of the abyss, and there went up a smoke from the shaft like the smoke of a huge furnace. The sun was darkened in the sky too by the smoke from the shaft. Then out of the smoke onto the earth came locusts, and they were given power like the power scorpions have on earth. They were instructed not to harm the grass on the earth, any green plant or tree, but only the people who did not have the seal of YEHOVAH on their foreheads.
All right, so now what we're seeing here is in the 5th plague, 5 is the number of grace. Okay, he's sending these locusts in the end of days. sending these locusts, and they're gonna eat up everything once again. So this is good because the Lord is sending us food to eat because we're going to be able to eat them. Okay. And in verse 1, we see the trumpet, the shofar sounded. Okay. And then this plague is coming from heaven. Okay. And then the abyss is opened up. So this is not good. When the abyss is opened up, it's not going to be good. So let's go back here. Let's see what information we need to get from our study from the Old. Okay, so we got Nepri, the grain god, Harmotet, one of the goddess of childbirth and crops, and Nubis, the guardian of the fields. Now, these three gods, these demons, were once in Egypt. Now they're in Revelation. Okay, do we have any other information that we need to get here from this slide? So these locusts are eating up everything. And now in Revelation, we have this part. They're coming out of the abyss. David, David, why do you think they're coming out of the abyss?
They're the demons that I don't want to say this. Because he wants to show, he says they're coming up out of the abyss, and then he gives them a certain set of instructions. Don't eat the grass, don't eat the trees. All I want you to do is inflict pain upon the people.
So why wouldn't they eat the grass?
So they're showing him, he's showing them that he is in control of everything, even the demons.
All right. What do you think, Neil? What do you think is going on here with they're gonna eat up everything but not the grass? Strange.
Yeah, well, these are special locusts. They have some abilities that the common locust doesn't have. They have the ability of scorpions, and scorpions, we all know, have the ability to sting you and inflict tremendous pain. So the purpose coming out of the abyss was not to harm the earth. It was to harm those people who were inhabiting the earth that weren't one of the chosen people of Yah. The people that hadn't been sealed on their foreheads. These are the people that did not fall down and pay homage to Yah. These are the people that refuse to accept Yah as their Elohim. So these are the people that the locusts at this point in time are coming for, not the crops and not the vegetation of the earth.
They're coming to inflict pain on man. Okay. So Neil, you made a very good point about talking. They had the scorpion, stuff, where the regular locusts don't. So this is a whole nother breed of these insects. Okay, and they're coming up from hell, which is the abyss, and they're being let go on the earth. Why? Because we didn't see the signs and wonders. Okay, you didn't see the signs and wonders, and now the Lord is bringing He's bringing it on because we didn't want to yield to the signs and wonders of what was coming. So now He's going to bring it on real big.
So wouldn't you say that this is the sign and the wonder that cannot be ignored?
I would say that absolutely, David. I would say that absolutely that this is a very big sign of wonder, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt real bad. And so let's see what else we got here, because it's something interesting too. Bring this next slide up. Hey, Neil, would you read Revelation 9, verse 5 through 9 now?
The locusts were not allowed to kill them, only to inflict pain on them for 5 months. And the pain they caused was like the pain of a scorpion sting. In those days, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. Now these locusts look like horses outfitted for battle. On their heads were what looked like crowns of gold, and their faces were like human faces. They had hair like woman's hair, and their teeth were like those of lions. Their chests were like iron breastplates, and the sound of their wings was like the roar of many horses and chariots rushing into battle.
All right. So we got this other explanation of what these bugs can do. They're equipped for battle. So if this is plague number 8, in the Exodus, David, why is this plague number 5 and not 8 in Revelation?
I don't know. I've never noticed that. Why is it number 5 instead of number 8?
What do you think?
Okay, I'll take
ahead.
a wild guess. I would say that because of the ability of these locusts that have come up from hell, and knowing the other plagues that are coming that are going to be worse, is why he moved it ahead in Revelation.
All right.
Right or wrong?
Well, let's pause there. I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute, because we're gonna add some other stuff to this to give us more information, and then we're gonna put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay.
Let's go over here. Let me bring back up the slide about the demon, because you have to understand who these demons are in the beginning, so that you understand, the revelation. So we got here. Where is we had the plague of the locusts, okay, and these locusts ate up everything in Mitzrayim. Now remember, why were we even in Mitzrayim? Well, Joseph was used by YEHOVAH to bring the food to the world, and they were a blessing to the world. And now Pharaoh's not yielding to God, YEHOVAH, okay? And now YEHOVAH's, because Pharaoh's becoming arrogant, he's hardened his heart to God's word. Now YEHOVAH's taking down these demon gods. Seems that's happening in Revelation, don't you think so, Neil?
Yeah, I do. These locusts in Revelation are some pretty bodacious locusts, if they're as big as horses. But why it's listed ahead of the plagues for Mitzrayim, I have no clue why the disparity of the ranking if you want to use that term, ranking in for the Mizraim plagues was different than the ranking in the Revelation plagues.
All right, let's get some more information, and we'll put it all together in a minute. Okay, so in Revelation 9, we got we're giving other information, such as these are very big locusts that are, kind of a horse. Okay, so those are. I don't want that kind of bug coming near me. Right? They have faces like humans. Okay, they have hair like woman's hair, and teeth like lions. Okay, so these are not your everyday ordinary locusts. These are some locusts on steroids. Okay, because the people didn't see the signs and wonders, the Lord's going to bring on a big hurting to the people. Here. So we got locusts in Egypt, and we got locusts in Revelation. Now we got this. Back to Shemot 10. Let's read. Neil, would you read verse 21, please?
Elohim said to Moshe, reach out your hand toward the sky, and there will be darkness over the land of Mitzrayim, darkness so thick it can be felt.
Have you ever felt darkness, Neil?
Been in some pretty dark places that it felt like you could feel it, but no, I can't say that I've been in darkness that thick.
Well, what did it feel like that?
It just felt like you were in you were surrounded by blackness, and if you put your hand out in front of you, you couldn't see even see there was not even enough light to see the hand in front of your face. So it felt like you were secluded, and that you were the only person at that point in time in that place.
Okay, so Neil's saying it felt like you're the only person at that time in space. What about you, David? What is darkness? Darkness so thick it can be felt.
When I was in Nashville, I got invited to this house to go play music, and had to go to the bathroom. And I went down this hallway, and there was a door cracked open, and I noticed a flickering going on in it. So I looked in there, and here was a 5-point star painted on the floor, a big circle around it, candles burning. The only light that was in there was the candles. And it felt void.
It felt void?
A void. It was like a void. It was like, I don't know. I got out of there quick.
Well, did you know what the 5-pointed star was?
Yeah, that's where people would go. The house has since burned down. But that's where people would go to dedicate themselves to Hasatan so they could have riches and money and fame. And Nashville is a very, very, I'm surprised that hurricane didn't hit Nashville too.
Well, it was flooded. I mean, the house was washed away. Okay, so let's go here. The 10:21 says, Yehovah said to Moshe, reach out your hand toward the sky, and there will be darkness over the land of Mitzrayim, Darkness so thick it can be felt. So darkness so thick it can be felt. Okay, so what's this doing? What is YEHOVAH doing? He's striking down another Egyptian god, a demon. Let's see what that demon is. That demon is none other than Ra. Ra was the god of the sun. So now the god of the sun is being blotted out. And who is this? This was so. This was Horus, Shu, and indeed, what was the powers of these gods? He's the god of
What is the counter?
What did you say, Dave?
Did you say what is the counter of that god?
No. Well, our God is striking down this demon. This is Ra, the sun god. You see it on this demon is seen on many of Egyptian hieroglyphics, and he's got the sun on his head. So this is number 9. This is plate number 9, and 9 is disorder. And then we got it was sorry, when the med's not working like that. You can see this very well. One second, let me open up another program. See it better. So this information is very important, because if you're going to understand what's going on in Revelation, because we're going to have darkness in a moment, come understand the beginning. One second, everybody. This is plate number 9, and it's there we go. It's not only striking rods, but it's striking Osiris, Seth, and Isis. It's striking Isis. So Isis is a god, an old god of in Egypt. So now you see Isis in the world, and okay, what's Isis doing here? Okay, so we're seeing that now. So it said so thick it could be felt. So now the Lord is blotting out all these gods. These gods, Osiris, Seth, Isis, and Ra. Okay, and so Ra was in charge of the sun. What happens, Neil, if you don't have any sun?
You don't have the sun, you don't have light, and you don't have warmth. So it's kind of hard to sustain life without it.
What about you, Dave? What happens if you don't have light? No electricity in your circuit. What happens?
It doesn't work. Nothing will work.
Okay.
It's darkness. I mean, you have to kind of sort of be able to place yourself within that circuit to see that there's nothingness in there.
Okay, so let's take this. Let's put the two pieces together. If you have no electricity in your circuit, would it be dead? Would it be like darkness?
Yes.
Okay, and let's take it a little further. If it's darkness, is it dead?
Yes.
Okay. But you, Neil, if it's darkness, it's dead. What's going to happen next?
Like I said, if you don't have the light, if you're separated from the light, you have death. And just like if you are separated from the light of Yah, you have spiritual death.
You have spiritual death. That's exactly what I was looking for. Spiritual death. So these people, this is happening. So now we need to understand the beginning. We've understood the beginning. Let's go to the end. Revelation now. Revelation. So this was hitting after those gods, the demon gods, and now Revelation chapter 16, please. Verse 10, 11. Would you read it, Neil? Revelation 16, verse 10, 11.
The fifth one poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and its kingdom grew dark. People gnawed on their tongues from the pain. Yet they cursed the Elohim of heaven because of their pains and sores, and did not turn from their sinful deeds.
Oh, now we're getting the darkness. Okay, these people are. This is the bowl judgment, so it's not. We've gone to the bowls are the seals, the shofar, and the bowls. This is the third set of 7 that's happening here. And now the fifth one pouring out his bowl on the earth, and people are in pain. So because they don't have the light. They don't have the light. David, what's so important about the light? Who's the light?
Yeshua.
Okay, so Yeshua's the light.
Is the light.
So Yeshua's the light, and so now people are in pain. They don't have the light. And they gnaw on their tongues. Have you ever been in so much pain that you gnaw on your tongue, David?
Not quite that much pain, but I've been in a lot of pain.
Okay, now
I lived in southwest Kansas, down there where we have scorpions, little bitty ones, and they're kind of like little spiders. And one of them ran up my pant leg and stung me on the leg. That was pretty close. That was a pain that I don't want to ever go through again.
all right, would you read verse 11 again? Revelation 16, verse 11.
Yeah, they cursed the Elohim of heaven because of their pains and sores, and did not turn from their sinful deeds.
Hey, Neil, now, why am I having this year? I mean, was Pharaoh not turning from his sinful deeds?
No, his heart had been hardened by Yah to resist complying with the instructions and commands of Yah. So he definitely did not turn from his sinful deeds. He continued to persecute and oppress the Hebrews.
Hey, that's very good. He didn't turn from his sinful deeds, as Neil just said, and he didn't stop persecuting the Hebrew people. Hey, so now you need to understand that to understand what's going on in Revelation here, because it says people poured out the bowl on the throne of the beast, and its kingdom grew dark. People gnawed on their tongues the pain, and yet they cursed the God of heaven because of the pain and sores, and did not turn from their sinful deeds. So Pharaoh, was given an opportunity to turn from his sinful deed and refused to turn from his sinful deed. Now this is happening. You see in the parallel? You seen a parallel, Neil? Dave?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, any thoughts on this? Any thoughts, Neil or Dave?
Well, the parallel is that Revelation, they hardened their hearts. They cursed the Father. They cursed Jehovah because of the pain, rather than repenting and being relieved of the pain.
And they had opportunity to change, right? They had an opportunity to turn.
Yep.
How you, Neil? You seen
Well,
any parallel?
Yeah, and they were putting all the blame on Yah because of their uh, the pain and the suffering they were going through. They were putting the blame on him instead of realizing that the blame for all this lies on us. And until we teshuva, until we turn, we're going to continue to feel this pain. But they were too blind and too arrogant to realize that they were the cause of their own suffering.
Amen. So they're the cause of their own suffering. Okay, so let's take this to turn to Jude. Here's the book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 6. 6 through, let's read verse 6, and then we're going to go to 13. And then, no. Yeah. Jude chapter 1, verse 6, please.
Isn't that close to Joshua?
No, Jude is in the Parshah, near the end of the Bible.
I haven't been in that book for a long time.
Go to Revelation and back up one book.
What scripture?
Jude chapter 1, verse 6, please.
Verse 6. And the angels that did not keep within their original authority, but abandoned their proper sphere, he has kept in darkness, bound with the everlasting chains for the judgment of the great day.
Hey, pause there. So, there's a key word, is the darkness, okay? The darkness, he kept saying, what happened is, Satan gets put into jail for 1,000 years, and it's in darkness, okay? So the darkness, understand, it could be felt. So in Exodus, we got, the darkness that can be felt because it's not listening to the word of the Lord. Now Jude is referencing that, the darkness. Okay, if you don't understand the beginning, you can't understand what's being said here. Okay, so let's go to Jude chapter 1, verse 13, David. One 13, please.
Yep, I'm getting there. Savage seaways, having forth their shame, deeds like foam, wandering stars, for whom the blackest darkness has been reserved forever.
Okay, so you're understanding now that once you understand the darkness, you understand the plague, and now you understand Jude. Let's go over to here now. Let's go back to Shemot, chapter 11, verse 4 and 5. Neil.
Moshe said, "Here's what YEHOVAH says, about midnight I will go out into Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the slave girl at the handmill, and all the firstborn of livestock.
Okay, so now we're back here. So now we've understood that we're not following the Lord's word. We don't have the light, and they're Gentiles that Jehovah's chastising around midnight. Okay, so midnight is what? Midnight is what watch? Anybody remember what watch that was?
Yeah, it was the second watch, right?
Are you telling me or are you asking me?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was the second one.
Let's go back there. Let's go back there and let's see.
I was just trying to remember your thing that you put up there.
I know in LEO terms it's called the third watch, but
Midnight is what? It's the
second watch.
second watch. Okay, so second watch.
Third.
Yeah, it's a changeover into the third watch.
Yeah.
And remember the 3 hour blocks. It starts at midnight, so you got three. It's easy to remember. Every 3 hours, the watch is going to change. Okay, so let's go back to the other slide and let's see here. So now we're up to here. So we've gone through these gods. Okay, submit. God said submit to him here, right? And then went here to Yaakov, submit to God. We're not submitting, so the Lord's going to send some more plagues. Okay, so around midnight, the Lord goes out, and he's going to strike down all these Gentiles and animals. So let's go here. Stop wiggling to be good. Now we go around midnight. We got locusts that happen. These gods, and midnight he goes out. So let's take a look at midnight. Why midnight? Okay, let's read this one more time, please. Read
Which
Exodus.
verses?
Trying to click it. My hand's not working right. Note 10, it's from 11, verse 4 and 5, please.
Moshe said, here is what Elohim says. About midnight I will go out into Egypt, and all the firstborn of the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the slave girl in the handmill, and all the firstborn of the livestock.
And now we've got this happening. Hey, so let's see what God is. This is going to give us a lot of information. Okay, so it's this is the 10th plague, the 10 commandments, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Now we got this God. It is Isis. This is Isis. So the 10th plague is Isis. Isis is about death. Isn't that interesting? Isis is about death. You see the parallels going on in the world today?
Yep.
And so Isis, here where I can see it. So this is the 10th and final plague. And they kill the firstborn of all the people there. And this is Isis. And this is Osiris. And Cyrus. And so I was. Hey, this is Anubis, which was worshipped as the inventor of embalming. Egypt has embalmed their people, okay, and Osiris preserve. So this god was about preserving the dead. Okay, Anubis, he had a scepter, and the jackal, black jackal, had accompanied ISIS. You wonder why the ISIS flag was black? Well, it comes from Egyptian. It came from the Egyptians first. Way back, over 3,000 years ago. And then this god was about protecting the dead. Hey, Anubis, now look at it here. Anubis monitored the scales of truth to protect the dead from deception and eternal death. So eternal death, that's something like our Bible, where you get put into, you die, and then you get to go to the trial, and then you come and then you put in the lake of fire. So this is what's happening here. That this God was protecting the dead and the scales of truth. So why is this important? It's important because in Revelation, click here, come on, click. Revelation here. Turn to Revelation. Well, first let's look at midnight. In Psalm 119, verse 62, it says, "At midnight I shall rise and give thanks to you because you are righteous, your righteous ordination." Okay? It's quite opposite of what we're seeing here. Matthew 25, verse 6. At midnight there was a shout, "Behold, the bridegroom has come. Go out to meet him." And in Mark 13, verse 35, "Therefore, be on the alert, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, whether in the evening, at midnight, or when the master of the rooster crows." Okay, so three positive things at midnight. Because you go out to meet him and you give thanks at midnight, and you go and the five wise virgins, right? They went in with the bridegroom, and now at midnight he's going to kill everybody. He's going to kill all these Gentiles. But the Israelites put the blood on the door. They're going to be saved. So what do you get from that, Neil? What do you get from that? Midnight, he's going to kill all these Gentiles. But if you're covered, your house is covered with the blood, midnight you're gonna live.
Well, midnight is a point of time of action for YEHOVAH, and just depending on which side of the fence you're standing on, whether you are following his path, following his mitzvot, you'll receive the blessings, and if you're not following his mitzvot and his path, you'll receive the curses.
That's very good. If you're not following his blessings, you're going to get the curses. Hey, Dave, what do you think about this part here? Where midnight, we have positive things happening, but then in the Exodus, the Lord's going to go out at midnight and destroy people.
Well, I can't argue with Neil. I mean, I agree with him. I agree with him totally. That's a point in time when it depends on which side of the fence you're standing on. You know, what's going to happen to you. And unfortunately, in this day and time, there's not very many. Doesn't appear to be very many standing on the right side of the fence.
Hey, so we got the Lord coming here, and let me just recap this a little bit. Sorry, everybody. He's not cooperating today.
Which makes me wonder if midnight is not the set time for Yeshua to come back.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Would Yeshua come back at midnight? Why do you think, Dave? Why do you think? What would be your point of saying that?
Well, just the evidence that we've looked at. I mean, we've seen that at midnight, you know, the Father works one way or the other. And Yeshua is the light. He's coming to shed the light upon the sin and upon the world.
So how is every eye going to see him?
Pardon me?
How is every eye going to see him maybe that night?
Yeah, because he is the light. I mean, because, you know, it's dark and he will come in and there's a bright light and you won't be able to turn away from it. You know, you'll have to see him. No matter where you look, there will be the light.
All right. Oh, let's recap this. Well, Neil, do you have want to add any shekel before I recap this?
Yeah, I don't. The last passage there, I think it was Mark 13:35. We don't know when the master is coming. The master is Yeshua. We don't know whether it's going to be at midnight, whether it's going to be in the morning when the rooster crows, or in the evening. So no matter what time he comes, we need to be prepared and need to be ready. And to do that, we need to, prior to that, be following his directions. And he said in one of the apostles there comments, if you love me, keep my commands. So if we want to be ready for him prior to his arrival, we need to be following his mitzvot and be compliant and be subservient to what the instructions he's given us prior to his coming.
Yeah, see, I'm not saying that he's going to come at midnight, because I don't know that, but I'm saying according to what we've read and studied, that there could be a strong possibility of it. No, we're not to be watching. I mean, I'm not gonna set up till midnight every night from now on, because I don't know for sure.
Well, he's not coming back to the United States. He's coming back to the Middle East. So
Yeah.
if you're going to stay up midnight, you got to stay up at their midnight, not our midnight.
Right.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let me just get up here. We'll go for 5 more minutes here so everybody can see. So we started here. Click here, come on. Started our study here. Started with the key verse of Numbers 11, verse 4 and 5. It's he was going to strike down all these Gentiles, and so when you're a Gentile, it says you don't got to follow the law. You might want to read this and understand that YEHOVAH was striking down those Gentiles, and all these people. It was Pharaoh that caused the problem. It wasn't the handmaid at the handmill, but it was her. But she died. Her firstborn son died. Okay, then we went over to here to submitting to God. Hey, so you got your two witnesses. They said submit to YEHOVAH, and Pharaoh said no. So those were the terms for peace, and he didn't want the terms for peace. So you got your two witnesses, and then Yaakov says, submit to God here. In Yaakov, James chapter 4, verse 7. Submit to God, okay? But how do you submit to God? Well, you follow His commandment. Okay, then we went here, back to 10, and the locusts came, and the locusts are also in Revelation, and they got the locusts are here. It's like striking down all these gods that were protecting the food. What's going on now? Okay, our food prices are skyrocketing. They're killing the birds, and they're killing the chickens. Eggs are going up $5 a dozen now. Okay, and so here the grain was taken, and what did Yeshua say also? Revelation. He said, "Day's wages for a loaf of bread." Okay, because why? Because it's a plague. It's understand what Yeshua was saying in Revelation 6. Hey, then we back here to locusts. They came and ate up everything. And then in Revelation, the locusts are a little different. They're the size of horses. There's a lot of horses come out your and they can do a lot of damage to people. And in Revelation, those locusts they can sting you like a scorpion. Locusts don't sting, but locusts in Revelation are going to be stinging, and it's going to hurt people for 5 months. 5 months, okay? In Revelation. Well, then we looked at this. The sun god gets blotted out. That's Ra. So Ra gets blotted out, and he was in charge of the sun. And there's also another part of Revelation where it says, the sun will burn you. And sun dries up the water. And then Revelation 16, fifth one poured out of the bowl. We've gone through 14 judgments, and then we're 14 to 21. We're on number 19 here. 19 is 1, 10 and 9. So you got the hand of God with chaos. 9 is chaos. That's number 19 here. And then we go finally back to here. Jude, and Jude 1 and verse 6. And the angel that did not keep in the original authority, but they were in darkness. Okay, so now we're in darkness. And finally, here, go to it's the god of Isis, god of death, with the black flag. Interesting, black flag. Okay, you kill the locust. You kill cockroaches with the black flag. So any comments or insights to today's lesson? Dave?
This is quite interesting. I've learned some things, which gives me a little more insight to I've always felt like you can't understand Revelation unless you go back to the Torah, go back to Exodus. But I guess it's just now time, it's my time, for this to all come together, which is very cool.
Amen. Neil, do you have any insight to you'd like to share with everybody? Anything you learned today?
The things I learned today are the things I continue to learn every day, and there's nothing new under the sun. And what happened back in Mitzrayim, Egypt, with the original Hebraic people are going to be happening in the future with our current crop of Hebrew people. So it's I forget who it was that said it, but if you don't learn by your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And we know by the word that we are going to be doomed to repeat some of these things. And some of us will live through them, and some of us won't. But regardless, whether we live through them or not, we're going to be, as long as we're following the path, as long as we're following Yeshua, as long as we're keeping his mitzvot, then death will have no power over us.
Amen. Amen. The biggest key that I think that we need to learn from this is that the Lord is striking down these Gentile nations, that didn't have the law, like people say. And when somebody says they don't have to follow the law, just bring them to Exodus 10 there, and Jehovah struck down the firstborn of Egypt. And you say to them, well, these are not Jews; these are Gentile. He struck down a Gentile land. So we got Revelation, telling us that these things are going to happen again to the world. And you just got to understand the God that he's striking down. All right, let's close in some prayer. Thank you, Lord, for your blessing today. Thank you, Lord, for this word, and thank you for the truth that you bring to us. In your name, Yeshua, and everybody says amen.
Shalom, this is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman. I would personally like to thank you for tuning in to the Remnant's Call each and every week. You can listen to the full message on our website, bethgoyim.org. If you have drawn closer to the King of Kings, learned more about him today, we are blessed. If you are blessed by these messages, please consider a donation to our ministry. You can go to our website, bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org, and click on the donate button. You do not have to have a PayPal account to donate. All you need is a debit card. Once again, thank you very much for listening to The Remnant's Call.
If you have not taken your first steps to be born again, just ask God's help. Remember, it's His loving grace that has come to find you. No one is worthy or able to reach God, but God can reach us, and He's reaching out to you now. Just open your heart and let Him in. His arms are open, and the blessing of salvation and eternal life are waiting for you. Don't let it wait any longer.